Hi, katzcradul here. As many of you know, I am a public school teacher, and I have been called back to school a week early. I'm not real happy about that because it cuts me really short on accomplishing all the goals I have for myself this summer. So I'm a week short, so I've got to get after it. One of the things on my list this summer was to clean out a couple of the upper cupboards in my kitchen, and also to clean out the auxiliary refrigerator that's out in Pellet Prepper's shop. I don't get out there as much as I'd like, so some things kind of have stacked up out there that I need to go check on. Prepper A was on a chair digging some things out of the cabinet for me, and she said, "Oh, I found some old baby food." And as she took them down, I began to look at them, and I recognized the jars of the apricot and mixed fruit because that's something I buy to put in a delicious bundt cake I make, and I had forgotten they were up there. The other thing she found were the two little plastic containers, the little rectangular plastic containers that belonged to a baby I cared for some time ago, and then when he left my care I just failed to discard them, so they kind of got pushed to the back of the cabinet, and we decided to take a closer look at them. And they all have, the best by date on all of them has passed by a long time. In fact, the mango fruit dessert that's at the bottom, its expiration date is 2008, and the one on top is green beans, and I believe it's 2008 as well. A picture is coming up here so we can take a little bit of a closer look at that. Okay, the apricot with mixed fruit, oh, I thought it was mango, but it's not. It expired in June of '08, or the best by date was June of '08, and for the green beans it was 9 of '08. And then as we looked at the jars, they all had a best by date of November of '09. All the seals were perfectly intact on those, no problem there. So Prepper A decided that she was going to pull the little foil top off the oblong container and that she was going to give it a try. But before she did that, I thought best to review with her. Oh, there is a mango fruit. There was a mango and an apricot. I forgot there were two of them. I decided to review with her a little bit. You've missed hearing her since I've been doing voiceovers, so I hope you'll enjoy this little segment with her.
All right, so you're confident that this food is probably good.
Probably.
How do we know that it's good? What kind of things do we look for?
Well, the top isn't, like, the thing isn't popped up.
Okay, so the safety seal's still working.
And this, it looks okay. It doesn't look...
Okay, it's not quite the color it was when
right,
it was first bought.
But
okay.
it still looks pretty good. It still looks like a good
Okay,
color.
so what's the next test? How about on these? The
Um,
lid wasn't bulging on it, right?
It wasn't bulging.
Okay, so what else? After you opened it, what do you look for?
You smell it?
Okay, how did it smell?
It smelled good. It smelled like baby food.
Like it normally does. Okay, and so how does it look?
Looks pretty
It's okay. It's a little darker. No funny smells. No funny look. There's nothing growing on it or anything. Okay, so then what do you do?
We taste it and see if there's any off tasting, like not right tasting.
Okay, and what did you decide?
I decided it tasted pretty good. That it wasn't quite the original flavor, but it was still good.
Okay, it wasn't quite as bright as it was originally.
But it's still very edible. And
Okay, so
good.
you feel pretty confident that this is okay to eat.
Definitely.
All right. Okay, we'll see if you die tonight, huh? Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, I'm confident too, or I wouldn't let you eat it. I will use all of these. I have a fruitcake recipe that, well, it's not really a fruitcake, I don't guess, because this is the only fruit in it, but that uses apricot with baby fruit. These had gotten pushed to the back of the shelf, so now I'm going to use them. They expire in '09. She will probably, let's see, this one is apricot
It's the same thing. It's
with mixed fruit. She'll probably eat that one. And this one is peas. We don't use that. Oh, green beans. And we don't use those. Those were here for a baby that I cared for a while. So we'll just dump this in the worm bin, so they'll get the nutrients out of that if there's anything left in it.
Once I finished in the kitchen cabinets, I went out to the shop to check the refrigerator there, and I found several packages of mozzarella cheese that were dated Best By of 2008 as well. I brought them in. They looked a little funny. There wasn't any mold on them or anything, but there were some kind of spots on them, like where the salt had leached out of the cheese slightly. So I opened them. I smelled them. They smelled fine. I took a sharp knife and I cut all of the edges off of the cheese so that I was exposing a fresh surface on all sides. I grated a little bit and I tasted it. It was delicious. It had intensified in flavor. It was much stronger than normal mozzarella cheese would be. In fact, it tasted very much like a white cheddar. I was confident that it was good. I grated it and I used it to make eggplant parmesan that night. I have one more package of that cheese from 2008 and I will be using it again. We all ate it. It was several nights ago. We were fine. I knew when I opened it that it was fine. There was no off color, no off taste. The package had not been compromised. Just those little tiny little beads of salt that looked like they were coming out of the surface of the cheese. Anyway, I just cut all that off and used it. I'm going to use the other one. This baby food was fine as well. I know so many people who get so concerned about that Best By date. That date is on there, in my opinion, for attorneys. The attorneys of these companies have to put a date so that if anybody were to complain saying, you know, I didn't know how long this food was good for, or if anybody tries to sue, they can say, we told you it was best by this date, and if you used it after that, that's your own problem. But food has been found. We have a museum here called the Steamship Arabia, where they dug up this old steamship that went down in the Missouri River, and they have pickles and preserves and all kind of things that were in that shipwreck that are still perfectly edible. Now, they were held at an optimum, very, very cool temperature, but those are pickles and preserves from the Civil War, and the guys that dug up that ship ate some of those, and they lived to tell the story. Food that is canned properly, whether home canned or commercially canned, will last a very long time. I am confident that this baby food in these jars would last many more years and still be edible. Now, the one in the plastic, Prepper A said it didn't taste quite as delicious as it does when it's new, but she said still very good. The color was slightly off, the flavor may be slightly off, but it is safe to eat. It is not bulging, it's not rusting, it's not it doesn't have a funny aroma, and it doesn't look funny. If it meets all that criteria, it is generally safe to eat. Because I have gotten so many questions on the issue of how do I know what the Best By date means, how do I know how much longer past that my food is safe, I have decided to devote half of my show on the Homestead Honey Hour the first Thursday in September on that very topic. That'll be Thursday, September the 6th, so you'll see announcements about that coming up when it gets closer to time. But we're going to talk about expiration dates or Best By dates and how to know. Generally, what I am saying to you is that foods that you buy that are commercially prepared, that you buy it from your grocery store shelf, are good much, much longer than the Best By date. I have canned beans that are 10 years old that I have no problem using. Anyway, I hope this allays your fears just a little bit, and that you are willing to at least try those foods that have gone past the Best By date instead of discarding them and wasting your hard-earned money. If you have any questions, just let me know. Cat's Cradle.